So the Arma Reforger team just put out a new request for information video, and I've been digging into it because, like many of you, I'm pretty curious about where one of my favorite games is headed. They're talking new maps, some tech fixes, and hints at tracked vehicles and HOTAS support that I can't wait to mess around with. So in this video, I figured I'd walk you through it all, share what I think it means for us as players, and just chat about it. If you're into this kind of thing, stick around. Maybe drop a like if you're feeling it. And let's get into it. Okay, so we know they've been working on a new map called Kolguyev, which is one of the islands from the original Operation Flashpoint, where Generals Guba had been running his little operation from. It's set during the autumn season, and from what we can tell from the concept art, it will have a very heavy industry and mining feel. I'm picturing rusty equipment and those orange leaves everywhere. It's got a cool, moody look. I think conflict is going to feel very different here, with more fights around buildings or choke points and objectives in the mines. They also mentioned that they're tinkering with persistent loadouts, which would be a huge quality of life addition to the game and reduce the time you spend customizing your loadouts. However, no confirmation on customizing them before matches though, so we'll see. Personally, I feel like this would be a major improvement even in its most basic form, because it can start to get really annoying to have to create your loadout from scratch every time you join a server. Ideally, we'd be able to create and save multiple different loadouts and be able to select them from the arsenal. And certainly bonus points if you can do all of this outside of the game. Though I do see some difficulties with this, especially on community servers that each have their own rule sets and availability for equipment. Curious to see how Bohemia handle this. On the social side, if you remember a while ago, there used to be multiple different options for emotes that you could use in addition to the salute. As it turned out, those were added accidentally, so they've been pulled because they weren't working right. Kinda bummed, but I get it. Better to skip than be stuck doing push-ups. For the gameplay side, dragging stacks of items in the inventory doesn't sound like it's going to be happening anytime soon either. Sounds like a tech headache. They're thinking about HOTAS support for flight sticks, though no timeline yet. I'd love to fly a chopper with one, but I've gotten used to using my Xbox controller for driving and flying. However, there seems to be a bit of redacting going on in this section, which makes me very suspicious of whether or not they might actually add in jets. Because later on in the video, they also tried to one-up Climax on hinting at some upcoming stuff, which I'll talk about more in a bit. Periscopes for tanks are in the works, too. Even if performance is tricky, I think that'd make driving one feel more real, like you're actually peeking out, and it would be so exciting to see mirrors and periscopes get cracked, forcing people to pop out. Oh, and mine disarming might come too. Imagine sweating over a mine while bullets fly. My hope here is that it will be more of an involved mini-game, rather than simply holding a button to disarm the mine. Sort of like playing Operation, but with explosives. That'd be intense. I really like their explanation of how they're balancing the game, because it's something I've suspected for a long time, that they're sticking to realistic stats for the factions instead of forcing everything to be artificially even. It's more authentic and very refreshing. Even if it means one side might dominate sometimes, as that just means it's up to the player to adapt and overcome, just like it would be in real life had the US and Soviet forces ever really gone to battle. Server performance is still a work in progress as well. It's always been a bit rough in big games, but I feel like it can be especially bad in Reforger sometimes. Hit registration in particular is quite frustrating, which they said should get better as servers improve with optimizations. Tech-wise, PS5 players are finally getting the long-awaited screen-tearing fix soon. Made by Evan himself. And for those of you who are uninitiated, this was an inside joke because Evan, the marketing and brand manager, often gets flack from the community for marketing the game instead of fixing bugs. So don't expect this fix to hold. By the way, he said this fix was happening in a major update very soon. At least that's what I wanted to hear. So I'm assuming he's referring to 1.3, and if so, I wonder if that means 1.3 will also be introducing mods for PS5. Who knows? Surround sound is coming for PS5 too, which should make hearing enemies so much easier and overall improve the soundscape. Though if I'm being honest, as good as the sound is in this game, I still feel like we shouldn't be able to hear bushes rustle 50 meters away during a firefight. The weapon sounds are simply way too quiet compared to real life. Grass past 300 meters is still a blurry mess, and there's no quick solution. They're looking at FSR upgrades, but don't expect fancy AI stuff yet. It's all practical fixes, which I can live with. Looking ahead, they're adding an HQ commander role where you can control your faction's moves. Calling shots from above, I could see that being fun, but also a lot of pressure. After spending some time on public servers, having a role to help coordinate effort is sorely needed. First-person servers are planned, though vehicles need some love first. I'd play that in a heartbeat. It'd make every moment more personal, since you can only see what your character sees. Suppression mechanics aren't happening. They want us to feel the panic ourselves, which, fair enough, I guess. I'm just not sure why I would feel panicked when I can simply respawn just 100 meters away and get back into the fight within 20 seconds. And no Steam Workshop because they're focusing on cross-platform compatibility for mods, and the devs are really proud of a few things coming in 1.3. Attack helicopters are dropping soon. I can't wait to fly one and rain some chaos. Mortars are already here, and they're a blast, literally tearing up the map. Gunship helicopters are another big one. I think they'll make fights way more intense. And the radio system's getting tied into new game modes, which could pull everything together. Those are the kinds of toys that get me excited to jump back in. So yeah, that's the latest from the RFI. A new map, some fixes, mortars, and gunships on the way. It's got me thinking about how I'll play next time. What about you? Are you excited for the commander stuff or just want to blow things up with mortars? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious what you all think. If you like this rundown, maybe subscribe. It's free and it will keep me chatting about Reforger as it grows. Catch you later.